Tonight, the latest on the mystery of the missing millionaire. Could your local video store be facing extinction? The evolution of Harry Highpants, plus Hayley Lewis, Merrick Watts and Denise Scott. This is the 7pm Project.
Welcome to the 7pm Project. It's the end of the week. Carrie and I are with you once again, and here to help us kick off the weekend, please welcome Denise Scott. Hello. And welcome back Tony Martin. Yes. 29th of January, but Happy New Year, Tony.
Oh, thank you. Welcome aboard.
Lots of news to get through. Carrie, what's happening in the world right now?
Well, in the news today, Friday the 29th of January, and police have admitted for the first time today that they hold grave fears for missing Melbourne millionaire Herman Rockefeller, with 2 people taken into custody overnight. Detectives have now converged on scrubland near the town of Heathcote in central Victoria. We will have more on that in a moment. Dramatic scenes in Western Sydney as police smashed a multi-million-dollar ice ring. Apprehended in a shopping centre car park, the suspects are accused of having enough drugs for 60,000 deals. The Australian government has been accused of bribing the Taliban by pledging $25 million at an international conference in London. Our Foreign Minister says the money will strengthen the war on terror by coaxing militants to participate in mainstream society. And J.D. Salinger, the reclusive author who wrote the classic novel The Catcher in the Rye, has died at the age of 91. Salinger died of natural causes in his home, where he'd lived in self-imposed isolation for decades.
He may be passed, but rest assured that that book will be on the reading list in high school for the rest of eternity.
I've never actually read it.
Well, it's quite a good read, but can I just point out that his final words were, in fact, "Get off my porch!"
Moving. Now, some research caught my eye today. I don't know if you saw this, but it was quite confronting. Apparently, a department store in the UK has released findings that show a man will wear his pants on his actual waist only twice in his life, and the rest of the time it varies according to the age. Right? Now, I've made up a graphic to explain this. At the age of 12, the trousers rest exactly on the waist. With adolescence, they plunge dramatically, and at 16, they rest 12.5 centimetres below the underpants. Now, by 27, the trousers are back up at the waist again. Well done. Then, for some reason science cannot explain, the trousers head north, and by the age of 65, they have become completely ridiculous, only 18 centimetres below the armpit. Now, based on these projections, I've estimated that if a man lives to the age of 110, he will disappear completely within his trousers.
In that graphic, is it the stomach gets bigger and that's why the trousers have to go higher?
Yeah, it's very bad when they form an equator around the belly. That's when it's a worry.
It can take hours to pants a senior citizen.
It is so disturbing, because if a man wears his pants, no man should have to, undo the fly to access his nipples. Surely, and can you explain this to me? Because, like, when the young folk wear their pants down here, right? The fly's down around the knees, I'm thinking, up here, whereas the male anatomy, I think you know what I'm talking about, that
yes.
Well, gift of love. Yes, Tony Abbott, girls aren't the only ones with gifts. But so the gift of love stays in the normal place in a man. So what do you do when you go to the toilet? When your fly's down at your knees or up at your chest?
Well, we've got a clip.
Do you know?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, I've thrown a curveball there. Oh, curveball.
I'm getting older, so if you'll notice, I'm wearing a beige jacket, but I'm not quite at the age where I'm wearing a slightly different tone of beige pants. It's a couple of years away.
Well, returning to the headlines now, and the intriguing case of missing Melbourne millionaire Herman Rockefeller. It's a story that's turned us all into armchair detectives speculating on how and why he vanished.
Last Thursday, Herman Rockefeller was captured by security cameras driving out of Melbourne Airport. He hasn't been seen since. He was supposed to be headed for home in Melbourne's east, but instead his car was found abandoned, 70 kilometres northwest of the city, locked with no signs of foul play. Runaway husband theories emerged, and a number of unconfirmed sightings gave his family hope he was still alive.
If there was a chance that Herman himself was watching, I'd just say, please, please come home.
But in the last 24 hours, the story has taken another twist, shifting from a missing persons case to a homicide investigation. So why didn't this multi-millionaire come home that night? And when will his family get some answers?
We now cross live to 10 reporter James Wakelin for the latest. James, what can you tell us?
Well, we're in Heathcote here, and this is where the search is now centred. It does look, as you just heard, that this will become a homicide case. Now, the homicide squad actually declared a no-go zone area to an area just sort of east of where we're standing here in Heathcote. That's because that's where they're expected they will find Herman Rockefeller's body.
Do police have any idea why Mr Rockefeller went missing?
Well, if they do know, they're not giving a lot away to us. They have made a couple of arrests, however, overnight, and that is what we believe led them here to Heathcote. They got some information, one of the people that they took into custody, and that's why they're doing this massive search here at Heathcote.
Now, James, it is a homicide investigation. Now, have they got any explanation as to motive?
As far as motives are concerned, I guess there's the obvious one. He is a particularly wealthy man, and he did have a lot of different business dealings, but that's only speculation, and we don't really know what involvement these two people that have been taken into custody have, and perhaps what their motive was.
James, this is a case that's clearly gripped the nation. What do you think is the reason for our fascination with it?
Well, I guess it is a tragedy that we've seen sort of unfolding slowly before our eyes. I guess, of course, the Rockefeller name is part of it. While Herman's no relation to the sort of the American Rockefellers, he is, of course, a very, very rich man, a multi-millionaire. And then, of course, there's just the fascination. He was just at the airport, a very normal trip that he'd taken interstate many, many times, coming back and then suddenly disappears from an airport. So, of course, there's that mystery element to it.
Well, thanks for updating us, James. James Wakelin there in Heathcote.
Now, news is a very serious business, as we've just seen, and I have to say that no one keeps their mind on the job more than SBS newsreader Lee Lin Chin.
The Taliban managed to strike in the very heart of this city, leaving many here wondering what will be hit next.
Who is that handsome? And a footnote to that story.
I love it. I just wish you'd been allowed to finish the sentence. Who is that handsome man? And bring him here now.
Don't you love that? Love SBS. Like, you know, there she is, news reading, and there's a guy in the middle of war-torn Afghanistan, people being killed, and she's thinking, oh, I want you.
Now, Tony, I believe you've learned some very serious news that'll have movie buffs quite worried.
Yes, there's a very real chance that the local video shop is on the way out. People are going to be getting their movies via streaming in the future, so we're told. Blockbuster in the US have closed down nearly 1,000 branches late last year. And, you know, I think it's going to be sad if we don't have a local video shop.
Our local one just shut in our suburb last week. Mm-hmm.
See, it started.
Did you ever use it, Carrie?
Not very often.
But
why it
still,
shut
no,
down?
never been into one myself. You know, my husband said to me 25 years ago, why don't you learn to use the video machine? I said, because, trust me, they won't last. And hey.
I think you guys have got a poor attitude towards this. Check this out. There's so many things to love at the video shop. You can just drink in the atmosphere. Everything from here back, Steven Seagal. The parking space is named after mid-90s film stars. On Way Down in Lou Diamond Phillips. A rack full of posters for films that you've never heard of. The VHS grotto down the back. And, of course, the beta section. To me, it's like an art gallery where you can take the paintings home. The feel of a freshly laminated membership card. Come on. Come together. Ooh, hot card. Hot card. The bin full of rare VHSs for 50 cents. Spice Power. New Zealand, the ultimate destination. And Michael Sarrazin in The Phone Call. Fun of sneaking a title into the wrong section. And, of course, the staff with their helpful advice. Ed, what are you doing here?
You saw the figures for TV Burp Tone?
Well, it's probably up against MasterChef,
Oh,
so...
mate, we were down to Yasmin's getting married figures.
Really? Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Hey, have you seen Shocking Asia 2?
There's a second one?
It's even more shocking.
Who doesn't enjoy venturing out of new releases, away from shore, out past highly recommended? Who knows what you'll find? What the hell is Dan Aykroyd in Earth versus the Spider? Can I ask, has anyone ever rented Earth versus the Spider with Dan Aykroyd?
Yes.
Show me. There's nobody's ever rented that. Are you sending an email? What about the kind of shop where you can get specialist advice? The kind of place where movie of the week is going to be Eraserhead or Blood-Sucking Freaks. Of course, there's always a danger that the bloke behind the counter fancies himself the next Quentin Tarantino. Yeah, look, I'm double parked, so Fletch lives. What's your most stolen title?
Any of the Cheech and Chongs.
Really?
Yeah, they go straight away.
Even the Corsican brothers?
Corsican Brothers, Up in Smoke, Nice Dreams.
Get Out of My Room with just Cheech?
I don't think so.
No. Sure, you can find a particular movie online, but it's not the same as browsing the shelves for hidden treasure. So come on, Australia, support your local video shop. Back to you, Tony. Who's that handsome... Oh. One of the reasons, of course, for the demise of the video store is it just can't compete with the quality of material found online. Take this, for example. That's up to 4 Oscars. There is a longer version of that video shop report with more Ed Cavalier available at 7pmproject.com.au.
Thank you very much, Tony Martin. We've got to take a break. We'll be back in a moment.
Coming up, Hayley Lewis, Merrick Watts, and some fun suggestions for the weekend. You're watching the 7pm Project.
Welcome back to the 7pm Project. Great tunes. Denise, you all right? Sorry.
Well, no, I actually think I've been watching too much tennis. I had a nightmare last night that, you know, Serena won the final and it looked like this.
That's chilling.
Well, she is in the final. Could come true. Our next guest exploded onto the international swimming circuit at just 16 with a massive gold medal haul at the 1990 Commonwealth Games. She's been a successful businesswoman, a mum and a 3-time Olympian. Please welcome the new host of The Biggest Loser, Hayley Lewis. Hi, guys. So, Hayley, The Biggest Loser is returning on Sunday night. We've heard that the new series is amazing. What can you tell us about it?
Well, I'm the bearer of bad news right from the start, really. I sort of hit them up with the fact that they have to do a 42-kilometre marathon at the end of it, and on the very first episode they actually have to run 4 kilometres. So, needless to say, there's a lot of tears and a lot of crying, so it's a pretty emotional night and not one to miss.
Now, there are some full-on challenges that the contestants have to do. We've got some footage here. Have a look at this. That's not what I meant. No, we've got some actual footage here. They're doing all this training. They actually have to run a 42-kilometre marathon at the end of it. Did anyone just refuse? Did anyone just refuse outright at that point?
I think there are a few words said, but you know, at the end of the day, I don't think anyone could possibly believe that they could do it. But you know, we're almost halfway through filming now, and you know, they've got a 21-kilometre coming up, so they're going to have to man up sooner or later.
And how are you enjoying your new role in front of the camera?
Carrie, it's been an interesting journey for me. It's something obviously I've never done before, and I just hope the viewers, when they watch in those first few episodes, just give me a little bit of time to get into my role, because I was very scared, and I have seen a couple of snippets of me, and I was a little bit nervous. But look, I'm loving it, and you know, the fact that I get to go on the journey with the contestants and the transformations that they have already gone through has been absolutely amazing. And you know, being a lover of the show for the past 4 seasons, it's actually quite interesting to be right there, right in the thick of it, in the challenges, and you know, there's a few boilovers and a few argy-bargy bits, so that's been pretty amazing to be a part of.
Hayley, look, speaking of transformations, I'm going to speak for all of Australia now. When I say you look gobsmackingly fantastic. And what is going on with these swimmers? They all seem to be... I'm not saying you were playing, Hayley, by no means. But no, I'm not. I'm clearly not. But all the swimmers seem to be turning into these incredible beauties. What are you doing? Has that thrown you a little, Hayley? But this is what we're thinking. This is what the nation is thinking, Hayley.
Look, I think for me personally, when you spend 2 hours in makeup every morning, how can you not look nice? So I'm actually starting to get a complex because I'm getting people ringing me saying, I can't believe how good you look.
Well, you do look
And
great,
I'm like,
Hayley.
Me either.
You look awesome, and we get to see you on The Biggest Loser returning this Sunday night at 6:30 on 10. Thanks so much for joining us today.
I can't wait. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, our next guest was one half of comedy duo Merrick and Rosso, and now is 1/3 of Nova Sydney's breakfast team, Merrick, Dools and Ricky Lee. He's been at it with the new gang for 2 weeks now, but he's stayed up extra late to 7 p.m. Please welcome to the 7 p.m. project, Merrick Watts.
You're back on air. After 9 years, you've got a new team. How's it all going?
Yes, it's going really well, actually, surprisingly, because I'm still a factor in it. So it's, I think they were hoping for it to go well, and it is. It's going really well.
No.
I've only been on air for 2 weeks, so I've still got, like, the rest of the year to really stuff it up.
But no calling like Ricky Lee Rosso or, you know...
No, I have called her that many times, but it's been deliberate, so just to keep her on her toes.
You've got a lot of names in the title of the show. There's been no suggestion to come up with the bunch, the mob, the crew, anything like that?
Well, I had a few ideas. I said, you know, we should call it the gang.
Gang, good.
And they said something with a little bit more oomph, and I thought, well, what about the gang bang? No, what about the bang bang? And they said, no, we'll just leave it with the names, and we won't even shave off the Lee off Ricky Lee. We'll just have all of it. So that's where it's at.
Now, getting away from radio, you actually had a pretty amazing holiday over summer.
Yeah, I go to Adelaide for my holidays.
You're quite successful. You know, you could go anywhere.
Well, successful, that's, yeah. I could probably go to different places, but I really like Adelaide, and each year I take my family there, and I send them and I ride my bike over. Not a push bike, I'm a man. So I put an engine in it. And yeah, that's actually the route that I took this time. I take a different route because it's better than saying route. But I take a different sort of path each time.
Is there a different experience, the bike versus the road trip in the car? Is it a genuinely more exciting thing to do?
You smell more dead animals. Sometimes you can actually smell them before you see them. You just go, ooh, that's off. Oh, hello, kangaroo.
Isn't that lonely though, just you on the bike?
Yeah, but see, no wife and child on it.
The new baby, right.
Yeah, so they convoy this time in the car, and I just sort of meet up with them randomly on the way through and you know, touch base, and then I'd go out and ride and enjoy myself and, you know, try to stay alive as much as possible.
Is it a challenge on the road, staying alive?
Well, I'm not so much worried about, like, the road craft of riding. I've been riding for a long time, and I'm pretty awesome. I'm more worried about what I eat on the road. It kind of scares me because I'm a bit random, and I love small towns. And this is one of the reasons why I ride. Is I love going to small country towns right around Australia and meeting new people and seeing new stuff, and going to small towns and going to their bakeries, which have all won an award. Like, there's no such thing as a bakery that hasn't won an award. No, so, like, seriously, you go to a small town, they go, you've won the award for this town, you're the only baker. But that can be a bit hazardous because sometimes you can get a dodgy pie or something like that, and then, you know, it's
Set
a little
you
bit...
back.
Yeah, it's a slow ride.
Your love of the bikes, though, goes beyond just riding them, doesn't it?
Yeah, well...
Where the hell does it go?
It's in the courts at the moment, but I touched one. So, no, I'm sort of into making them now. Well, not really making them myself, but yeah.
Look!
Yeah, that's... Well, a friend of mine...
converting them or something?
Yeah, these are, like, seriously, there's a company that I formed with a friend of mine called James Clark, Jim, and he and I convert postie bikes, so Australian postie bikes, and we convert them into those bikes there. So we strip them down and respray them and put on new parts and stuff like that, and then we fail to sell them.
We would actually like to talk bikes more, but we're actually running out of time. We'd love to have you back to talk about it. He's gone. He's all ladies and gentlemen. I'm
sorry, man.
You can catch Jules, Ricky Lee, and and Merrick are on Nova Breakfast in Sydney. Highlights between 6 and 7 in all states. Please thank Merrick Watts for being on the show.
Next week, Ronan Keating, Bonnie Lithgow and Spandau Ballet. This is the 7pm Project.
Pizza Hut's new menu, proudly delivering tonight's Metro Whip, adding a new flavour to your news.
Let's see what's happening in your neck of the woods. And first, Tim Blackwell, why is Brisbane on full alert?
Well, I'm putting my life on the line for you guys tonight. There is a storm coming. I'm live at Nudgee Beach in Brizzy, just north. There's thunder, there's lightning, there's hail, there's even a king tide, people. This is extreme. Expected to come. Basically, by this weekend, it could be your last. The world could be over. As you can see from behind me, it's pretty hardcore. It's a bit grey, a bit of a drizzle spot on my cap and stuff. But the good news is Channel 10 have provided me with extreme wet weather gear. Just in case you see that, I've drawn Channel 10 on a rubbish bag. But if you do stay dry this weekend, take the kids to the last few days of Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends at the Queensland Museum. Why wouldn't you? Thomas will be there, the Fat Controller as well. So good luck if you can get out of your house. Stay dry.
Thanks, Tim. And now to Adelaide with Jason Chong and a big weekend for the Rev Heads.
Yeah, this weekend at Virginia Speedway City is the Australian Sprint Car Nationals. Now, sprint cars, they're the ones with those big wings, so they kind of look like a cross between a Formula One car that's been driven by a 4-year-old and the Flying Nun. Now, these things go to 130 k's an hour. They go round and round, unless, of course, the driver's texting, in which case they go about 40 k's an hour and keep drifting in and out of lanes. And now, the guy to watch is a guy called, he's called Brooke Tatner. He's the current championship leader. Now, and, you know, keep a look out for him, not only if you're going to sprint cars, but also in person, lads. That can get a bit tricky from time to time. Now, yeah, the only other thing I need to tell you is that if you enjoy, it starts on Saturday, 6:30. Tickets for a family cost about $70. So if you enjoy watching things go round and round and round in circles, getting louder and louder, sprint car, that's what you need to do. Or you could just come to my parents' place and we could watch them argue. My parents have been divorced for years. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, Jason. Sam Mack, what's happening in Perth?
Hey guys, I'm in Kings Park because here in Perth this weekend it's Shakespeare in the park. Shakespeare WA presents The Taming of the Shrew 60s style. Now if you're not familiar, basically The Taming of the Shrew, it's the story of this chick who's a little bit of a loose cannon. This bloke wants to hook up with her, she's not that keen, so then he torments her and torments her. Eventually she caves in and becomes his obedient bride, right? But I'm thinking, what a perfect way to spend a weekend. You know, you kick out here and you have a nice bottle of wine, you have a bit of a picnic and some misogyny for the weekend. Isn't that right, girls? Isn't that right, girls? OK.
Thanks, Sam. M. Rusciano, I understand there is still some live music allowed in Melbourne. What's happening this weekend?
Well, Tony Martin, I'm here at the Footscray Arts Centre where the St Jerome's Laneway Festival is taking place. Now, 5 years ago, this was a small little boutique festival, but it has grown to a 3-state extravaganza. This year, Triple J's Hottest 100 winners Mumford & Sons will be playing, as well as Sarah Blasco. Now, if you're concerned that this is just another mainstream commercial music festival, listen to these bands: the XXs, the Frightened Rabbits, the Black Lips. Never heard of them? Well, neither have I. And that's how you know it's going to be cool. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Sam. And finally, to tell us where he'll be this weekend, a special Metro Whip appearance from Paul McDermott.
Hello, Australia. Hope you're all well out there. I've got to be honest with you, it sounds a bit boring around the rest of Australia. But if you're in Sydney, come to the Domain where we're putting on Leonard Bernstein's Candide in the park. It will be absolutely fantastic. Emma Matthews, the brilliant soprano, singing. David Hobson's going to give it a crack as well. Beautiful voice on that man. Hamish and Andy are going to be down here wowing the crowd in their usual manner. Get along and see them if you want to be in the crowd and be wowed by them. Also, I wear this T-shirt for the forgotten people of Pandora. And look. Opera in the park, it's a corker. Get down and see it. I'm in it.
Good News Week starting this weekend. Thank you very much for joining us on the whip. That's all we've got time for tonight.